fuckers, so it's 11:11 a.m. on August 15th of 2021. Woo-hoo, it's fucking Sunday. I guess, I don't know. So yeah, this is going to be either the start of Leo's or TJ's route. God, I didn't think that this would approach this fast, but Jesus, it really has. I'm almost out of content from this game to show you guys. Oh, boy. I will say it's been really fun going back and playing the routes and like seeing the shit that I haven't seen in a while, you know? I mean, TJ and Leo's routes were some of the first I ever did, so that'll be fun. It'll be fun. So, a weird thing is happening in my head right now. Like, I know I've been awake for a while, like a long time actually, but like, I can't remember what I was doing like an hour ago. Like, it's just not in my head. I can't remember what I was doing literally an hour ago. It's weird. But, let's pop in. Oh, jeez. I'm guessing that was 7 a.m., right? Yeah, it must have been 7 a.m. So now we go back to fucking July 11th. Alright, route choice time again. Good grief. And we're down to, oh boy, yeah, so we did Flynn, and that had a horrible ending. Then we did Jenna, who had a somewhat good ending, you know, it's a little bittersweet. So, I'm thinking we're gonna do TJ to go back to the thing of, like, endings that are bad, you know? Bad for the characters in general. So, TJ it is. I'm really worried about TJ. He's a sensitive guy, and after a tongue lashing like that from someone like Flynn, I can't imagine the state he's in. I don't see him anywhere as I scan the area, but I do see some trees and bushes further up along the riverbank. Since there's really no other place to hide, I assume that's where he's at. Sure enough, I see him immediately. He's sitting down, he's drawn up with his arms folded on top of them. He's got his forehead resting on top of his arms, staring out the sand between his legs. I stand there for a moment, wondering if it will just be better to leave him alone. After a few seconds, I finally decide to sit down next to him cross-legged. His ears flick in my direction, he turns his head to the left, away from me. I notice so few white spots of Tina's fate. Maybe he just wants to be left alone now? Say nothing. I decide to let TJ talk when he's ready. In the meantime, I pick up a dry twig and start toying with it, snapping it in half, snapping the other halves in half. You see that his ears are still swiveled in my direction, probably wondering what the hell I'm doing. I think I'm getting on his nerves because he finally talks. What do you want, Chase? I throw a piece of the twig into the river. Just wondering where you went. You gonna go back and eat? No. We sit there for a while longer as I watch the twig pieces float down the river. Finally, I can't believe he did that. In front of everyone. I'm not sure what to say, so I stay quiet. After a minute, TJ finally turns his head looking in the river. Wind picks up reflections of the river. Reflections from the river highlighting motes of dust that swirl up around us. His face fur is a bit mussed up, spiked up in a few places from being wet. It's an unusual sight to see his fur unkempt. I mean, what the heck? TJ, unable to curse even though it would probably be the best thing for him. He adjusts his legs to sit cross-legged like me and wipes his face again. Did you know what he was talking about? Taking a breath, unsure how I should approach this. I think so. TJ's ears lower. Listen, no one else thinks anything happened. You're so little, especially you. I mean, I can't believe he's doing this. Trace of cloth through the dirt, drawing some wavy patterns as I try to make sense of all this myself. I think he's just because he was such good friends with Sydney, and he just wants more than the truth. I look sideways at TJ. He's just sitting there looking at the ground. And I guess you were the only one that saw him, saw what happened, so he only has you to go after. I saw him drowned. I don't say anything about myself, cringe inwardly. Pretty soon tears are running down TJ's face, but he doesn't bother to wipe them away. Not just sad, though, he's angry, hearing his voice as he goes on. I saw Sydney drown, and Flynn thinks he's the only one that hurts. He thinks that he's the only one that feels like he's a nightmare. Well, maybe. His voice cracks and he looks away from me again, wiping on his face. Maybe I haven't told him everything because I don't want to have those images in his head. He takes a moment to steady his voice, working to get his breathing back to normal. I just wish I could go back to that day. TJ, there's nothing you could have done. I know my words are meaningless crap and I hate myself for saying them. I wonder why, Chase. But I have to say something. Not one of us would have been able to do anything if we were there. You would have. Well, besides, I know I couldn't have saved my own. That isn't what... TJ takes a moment to wipe his face again. When he's done, he doesn't go on. I sit in silence for a long while after that, and adjust myself, but I can lean back against the rock behind me, pat the ground. Sit next to me, Teach. He's calmed down for the most part, and after a moment, he does crawl over to sit by me. Pick up a few pebbles and toss them into the river. Remember when he used to call it Seesaw River? Yeah. He leaves it at that, so I drop it. Nurse my paw back and close my eyes, only then realizing how tired I am. In some way I can see why Flynn is so suspicious, or at least why he believes there's more to the story. There clearly is. But while I do want TJ to tell me more about what happened, I can never bring myself to ask him. I honestly feel that if I ever want to help him with his past, I should probably come to terms with it myself. I crinkled my brow, toying with the idea of going back. It's something I actively avoided thinking about. We all do. But like Jenna said, maybe thinking about it might actually help. And yet you fucking berate Flynn for talking about it. Wow, okay. I dig my fingers into the pebbles on either side of me. The images come in a quick flurry, like someone cycling through a Viewmaster too fast. The sky is getting cloudy, the air crisp. Autumn. TJ's sitting in a daze, Jenna running back to town, Flynn pulling me into the water, me grabbing onto neck scruff, pulling back to shore. Carl's sitting on a rock, bawling. Leo starts trying to do compressions. Sydney just stares. Sirens, the helicopter rotors, adults everywhere. Home, Mom's holding me, Dad puts on my favorite movie. I watch. But still, Sydney stares. That's literally verbatim from Flynn's route, but okay. I open my eyes again and the world is blurred. Lights reflecting off the river makes me squint. I rub my eyes with the back of my paw and it comes away wet. My chest hurts and so does my head, throbbing and buzzing. I look over and luckily for me, TJ's leaning back with his eyes closed like I was. If revisiting that day is so horrible for me, I can't imagine what it's like for him. Well, you do remember, guys, what happened in Jenna's room in the one dream with Sam to death. Remember how I made a point to call attention to the order of the people? It was Chase, Sydney, Sydney's father, and Sam. You see the pattern? We reverse it and we get Sam, Sydney's father, Sydney, Chase. You see it now? Starting to piece together everything? And the little knowledge you have from last route about how Sydney killed Sam and how Sydney's father committed suicide near Sydney. You seeing it? You seeing it yet? I decided right then and there that I'm not going to press TJ on what happened. If he wants to tell me more, he'll do it on his own accord. I kinda want to swim again, but at the same time I don't. That day really fucked up my view about water. He's ruined the whole trip. No, he hasn't. Good grief. TJ speaks suddenly and I look over at him. Flynn, no, he hasn't. He does finally look at me then, and I'm struck by how disheveled and sad he looks. I feel anger boom my chest, all of it directed at Flynn. Of course it is, because you're a fucking piece of shit, Chase, I swear. What a selfish prick, thinking of the right to ruin everyone's good time just because he felt like shit. Oh my god. Lay off the dude, He's fucking trauma too. He's reacting to that trauma in a human way, in a way that you would if you were told to hold on to that for your entire fucking childhood and teenage years. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you would react like that too if someone told you, don't fucking talk about it. Yeah, I have strong feelings about their treating of Flynn. If he were right here right now, I'm pretty sure I'd punch him right in his gut. Listen, we don't all need to hang out to have fun. We had fun at the park with just you, me, and Cora, remember? If Flynn wants to be a douchebag, then let him. We'll do our own thing. TJ sniffs on to see his tough ears perk up a little. Didn't you want to go hike the trail? He smiles at that and looks at me. You didn't want to hike, I could tell. And grin. That's because it's so freaking hot. Seriously, we didn't come here to lay in a motel all week. And we can bring water, just dump it on yourself every half hour. That's how I manage, although we're along with taking plenty of breaks. TJ leans in and spreads his legs out. I can see he's starting to get excited at the prospect of hiking. That makes me feel better. Well, if you're able to do it, I guess I shouldn't complain. Look over his fluffy form, which by itself is enough to make me sweat even more than I already am. You know, I always thought you'd go back after you graduate high school. What does that mean? The Great White North. I say it dramatically. Oh, the Great White North. Okay, not enough words if that's where it is. Your parents did. TJ's family moved to Echo when he was only 6, from a small town called Wasatchua. I don't know. His dad got a job in Echo to survey the land or do something with the wildlife. I can't remember exactly what it was. Oh well, I don't really remember it. But I might after I graduate. They have some things up there that sound really nice. Free healthcare? I guess, and snow. Of course, just give people free healthcare and see how your economy goes to shit, you fucking idiots. From what I wonder if snow is to a lynx as water is to an otter. A lot of snow did sound kind of exciting to me, though. Here we'd be lucky to see a single dust nib in a year. So, you're serious about hiking with me? Of course, I'm gonna bring some of my equipment, too. I think I want to get some shots of the canyon. Okay. He waggles his furry feet back and forth, and I had to grin at his enthusiasm. Alright, so we're going to have to get up at around 6. Oh. I want to be able to make it to the canyon for lunch when you get rest. Or you can rest for an hour or two, then tell it how it... You can tell? Stop. You can tell how excited TJ is about how he talks. Well, if anyone's gonna plan things out at a ridiculously meticulous level, it's TJ. We sit there for another 20 minutes or so and just talk, mostly about school and what our plans are once we graduate. Was that intentional? I don't think that was intentional. It might have been, who knows. I promised TJ that we'll meet up again before I do. That's when I get a text from Jen asking where we are. I stand up, brushing up my pants before reaching down to help TJ up. Well, we better get back. Guess they're all wondering where we are. When we get back, everything's packed up into the van along with Carl and Jenna. Leo's leaning against the van, waiting for us, his paws in his pockets. He looks at me. Then over at TJ, obviously trying to gauge his mood. Everything good? Yeah. TJ answers before I can. And whether or not he actually is okay, sounds happy enough. Well, alright then. Why is it weird to see Leo with his shirt on? I don't understand why that's weird. Like, Yeah, for basically all of the end of Jenna's round, he was shirtless. But like, why is that weird to see? I don't understand. We get in the van at that point. No one's saying anything to make the short drive back to the motel. As we get out, Leo tells us that we're going tells us all that it's going to have a word with Flynn. And despite the soiled afternoon, we still have stuff to do over the week. I'm not too convinced myself that will happen. I am convinced it's going to be awkward as fuck if we do. Leo leaves for work at that point, but Carl does end up coming in with us at the motel room. The rest of the day is pretty uneventful. We watch a few movies and go to the diner for dinner. Afterwards we just sit in the room and talk. Carl filling us in on how things have been in the town over the past 3 years. It's not long before the conversation drifts back to Flynn and his outburst. I think he's just antsy because he's realizing how shitty it's been without you guys. Trust me, he's already kicking himself for it right now. Even if he doesn't mean he doesn't mean anything unless he apologizes. Oh, shut up, Jenna. Oh, you know how he is, Jenna. He's sorry even if you don't say it. I don't care. He's going to have to realize that none of us have to put up with his name anymore. Hey, why don't we all get some ice cream? I've been waiting to go get Ray's ever since we got here. It's hard to tell if TJ's just trying to change the subject or actually wants ice cream. Probably both. If you want to drive the half hour to Peyton, sure. What? Why? They moved her there. It sucks. I've been at the rocky road for a year now. Aww. Well, let's just stop by when we go to Peyton next. I assume we aren't staying in Echo for the rest of the trip. Oh, Chance, can you take us? I just smiled over my spot on the couch. Sure, why not? Yes, I love the cookie dough. What about you, Jana? Jenna's busy looking at her phone. Oh well, I've always enjoyed their butter almond. It's hard to find that flavor anywhere else. She looks at me about to answer. But for a moment I draw a blank. The memories of Ray's, hazy and blurred. My head is still buzzing. Oh, vanilla. I've been feeling pretty shitty ever since I had that talk with TJ by the river. I make a mental note just to steal some of Jenna's aspirin before I go to bed. Well, Flynn was right about one of us at least. Carl! What's wrong with that? Everyone likes vanilla. I grin even though Carl's comment hurts me more than it should. He's just joking after all. But I mean, who loves it, right? Personality of a rock. I think it's a good answer, especially with toppings on it. Buzzing picks up and I feel a dull pulse behind my eyes. The three of them continue to talk amongst themselves. I lean my head back into the couch, close my eyes trying to will away the pound in my head. Oh, boy, it's gonna be dream time. Oh, never mind. Okay. I open my eyes. The room is dark. No, it's not. Jenna's in her bed. TJ's in his. Carl's wrapped up in a blanket on the floor. I lurch from my camera bag and look around wide-eyed. I sit on the bed next to TJ and stare at the door. What the fuck? Okay. TJ stands at the edge of the lake, staring across the other side. He has one paw in his pocket, the other holding a beer. He takes a drink from it. TJ doesn't drink beer. Pulls the tab off the top, then flicks it toward the lake. It whizzes like a weed cutter, skipping across the water and kicking up spray. Suddenly his ears snap up and he sees something I don't. He turns and starts to run. He's at a dead sprint when his leg snaps out from under him, and he falls to the rocks, beer splashing everywhere. A chain is pulled taut from the lake, connected to his ankle. I get up wanting to help, but I can't. I look down, my wrist and ankle chained. I wonder what that's supposed to be about. A metaphor for, I don't know, trauma possibly? The sun is bright and I'm pretty sure I can smell the fur searing the top of my head. It's the end of March, so it's not nearly as bad as it can be, but being right under the sun like this... We've only been on the trail for about 10 minutes at this point, but I'm already regretting it. Chase? KJ was about 5 feet ahead of me, turns around. It's at that point that I realize he said something. I have no idea what it is. Everything okay? Yeah, sorry, what did you say? He looks concerned and walks back toward me. Remember, if you have a headache or feel sick to your stomach, or if you feel, or you start feeling like you're not yourself, don't worry, I'm fine. I try to give him a smile to show it's true, but he's already in the process of unscrewing a bottle of water from his backpack. No, wait, you don't have... He dumps half of it over my head, and I hurriedly unshoulder my camera bag. Watch the equipment! Sorry, Chase, but you're not having a heat stroke on my watch. You know, I've studied otter physiology. You guys don't do well in dry, hot environments. He's pretty close to me, having to dump the bottle over my head. Keep holding the bag away from my body. While I look down at him, eyes at water dripping from my whiskers. Otter physiology? Yeah, it's like your body. It's parts of what they do. It's a little awkward that TJ knows how my body works for some reason. Huh, so like you studied all our parts? The attempt at humor was weak in the first place when I realized too late that I'm talking to TJ, and he probably wouldn't have laughed even if it was funny. He looks a little taken aback. Oh, well, yeah, we all live different anatomy, so it's important to... Trails off, and I can tell that he's blushing. He frowns at me. Are you making fun of me? What? No, I was just trying... He turns away suddenly and starts back up the trail. You should keep going, it's an all-day hike. I follow him quietly. An all-day hike? What the fuck? No. That's no. Okay, so I was, like, having a brainstorming session earlier about writing ideas, and I came up with a really interesting concept I think is quite ripe for horror possibilities. Imagine, there are these entities that have been with us for, all of our, history as humans, you know? And, they feed on our imagination because that's the only part that's interesting to them or something. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to explain what I was thinking of, but, entities that feed on imagination and, make real or something. I know, it sounds basically like fucking... Well, I don't know. Let's just get into this again. It's hard to judge the type of expression he just had on his face. It wasn't exactly angry, more flustered. I'm pretty sure it's because he knows I like guys. Even in college, my straight male friends get uncomfortable when I joke about sex, like I think I'm coming on to them. He just never told me how he feels about sexuality. In fact, I know nothing about his sexuality. I think he dated one girl in high school, but that fell apart pretty quick. She had problems fitting in, so he befriended her. Obviously, she took it as him liking her. So she asked him out. TJ, of course, couldn't say no. He's always in a quest to make other people happy. Well, seeing as my favorite chip in this game is Flynn and TJ. Anyway, he definitely isn't homophobic. He seemed really happy for me when he found out I was going out with Leo, and he seemed really sad when he found out that we broke up. He doesn't exactly follow any particular Christian denomination that I know of. Denomination that I know of. He hasn't even weighed in on the whole Jesus species debate. What I can gather, TJ just likes the spirituality of the whole thing. Once Leo told me that TJ was not a Christian that Christians always say they are, but definitely aren't. That's something. That's something that I'm all too familiar with. You know, being gay and growing up in a quietly homophobic household, not exactly conducive to mental health. Yeah, I found out I came to terms with my fucking homosexuality when I was 16 years old, for fuck's sake. So it's not exactly a good thing, you know? It was mainly my dad, but, my mom isn't exactly the best either. About it either. And don't even get me started on my fucking grandparents. Jesus Christ. My fucking maternal grandparents are such pieces of shit, man. They use the N-word on a regular basis. They are homophobic and just in general awful people. So, yeah, fuck them. Seriously. I have to agree. 2 hours later, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to die. I'm practically stumbling after TJ that links 15 feet ahead of me. He doesn't even notice either, cheerfully marching up the steep trail, and over rocks as if they aren't even there. Well, he's a lynx. And dying. Literally dying. My foot slips and I face plant. Ouch. I lay there waiting for TJ's god to take me. Chase! Here's some stumbling and DJ slides up next to my body, sending a cascade of growl over my head. Oh my gosh, you okay? I hear the telltale sound of an unscrewing bottle. I turn my head to the side. No. A gush of water hits me right in the face and I jerk up, sputter weapon on my eyes. For the love of God, TJ, stop it. Let's get you the shade. Let's get you to some shade. He grabs me around the arm and starts dragging me toward a big boulder. Calm down, I can walk. Are you sure? Yes! TJ's looking incredibly worried right now, hovering over me as I'm waiting to sit against the boulder. Dude, I'm fine. I'm just tired. I don't know how you do it. TJ keeps watching me, and once I sit down, he kneels next to me and runs his paw through around my forehead, feeling with his paw pads. You're a little warm. We should rest here a bit. He takes out another bottle of water. It's like he brought 50 of the damn things. We should probably get your clothes wet. I put up on his shoulder. TJ, calm down. I'm fine. You sure? Because... TJ! He stops babbling, looks me in the eye, the water bottle in one paw, the cap in the other. What's up? He looks at me for a second, then breaks eye contact, slowly screwing the cap back on the bottle. Sorry, I just want to make sure you're okay. I'm the one that asked you to come. Relax, I'm just being a little dramatic. Alright, if you're sure. I am, but I could use a drink. He hands me the bottle. Good idea. I've been making sure to drink a lot. I had plenty. Yep, my piss is crystal clear. TJ's muzzle quirks and I take a long draught of water from the bottle. I cap it and burp. You know what? I think it's because I'm starving. When are we gonna eat? Not yet. We have to make it to the top first. I have some granola bars, though. Ew, dude. I'm hungry for real food. It is real food. Anyway, it'll be so much better if we do it at the top. Besides, this is the hardest part and it's almost over. It's all downhill after this. Literally. I can tell I was getting anxious to start moving again, so I take one last gulp and get up. I don't get how you're so damn unaffected by the heat. Oh, I am. I'm just keeping wet. While he talks, he starts pouring water on his shirt. Sticks slick to his torso, showing off his tight chest and flat stomach. His navel a dark indent through the fabric. I make sure I don't stare too long at wanting to make him feel awkward again. Either way, I can feel my crotch area getting a little tight. Being in a hotel room, so other people didn't exactly give me much time to relieve stress. Good grief, Chase. Me and my straight friend did have reason to be wary. Keep my eyes unfocused on TJ's. I guess that's how you can keep moving like you do here in the middle of the desert. Well, I run a few miles on the track every day at school. Jeez. We start up the trail again, TJ's sticking by my side now. I feel bad about holding him back, but at least now it's less likely I'm gonna eat shit again. We did it! TJ looks over the view as I stagger up behind him. I'm not as beaten up as I was earlier, but my legs are really starting to kill me. I lean over my paws on my knees, panting. Swimming is definitely a better way to work out. TJ turns on me abruptly and I straighten up, smiling. Oh, sick. He holds up both his paws, grinning. High five! I slap him with gusto and TJ laughs, pulling off his backpack and sitting down on a rocky bench. I look at it, a little confused. What's this? A rock bench. It's always been here. I think some seniors in the old school made it, see? This dude's over point at the back and I look closer. Etched out in large letters and numbers, it says, Echo High, class of 59. I used to paint the era in the canyon too. You can still see some of them. Sure enough, I see some white lines in the canyon wall, a 52 here, a 72 there. The school closed after 1980, so I assume there's nothing after that. I sit next to him and lean my head back, closing my eyes. While the hike had been a massive bitch, I still don't regret coming. Not just for TJ's sake, but also because there's something nice about being isolated like this. Like we're the only people on Earth. I feel the weight fall on my lap and look down, expecting to see a tasty sandwich. Instead, I find a big, fat, hairy tarantula. I freeze my brain processing what's going on. Then I scream and take a swipe at it, doing the same at the same time doing this sort of spastic dance to the right. I slide off the bench and onto the ground where I roll several times to get away. Holy fucking shit, son of a bitch! I roll up to my... That was so fake. Good, great, whatever. I roll my feet and stumble back away. Back further away from the bench, I scan the ground for the giant astral spider, make sure that it's after me. That's when TJ's laughing. Chase, calm down, it's... He holds up the giant spider, its frozen rigidness, telling me what he couldn't finish. Fake! TJ's still laughing, but I'm still hugging myself, shivering in flesh every time I see something spindly. I'm shocked, but not because of what just happened, but because TJ did it to me. Fucking TJ. Feeling betrayed, I glare at him as he beckons me with the paw, wiping his eyes with the other. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. But Jenna made me promise her that I'd do it. That figures. Jen is the type to always play pranks, and yeah, I hate to say it, but it's because she's a fox. I rub my arms up and down my paws, shivering again. I can't believe you. You know how much I hate spiders. One of my worst fears had always been that of a tarantula getting in my room. I used to regularly shake out the bed sheets when I found out that they lived around Echo. I'm sorry, I thought you might make them fall for it. You know the ones around here are blonde, right? Yeah, TJ, that's the first thing that comes to my mind when I find a fucking spider on my lap. His ears do lower at that point and he stops laughing, and I can tell he's trying not to smile. Listen, Chase, I'm sorry. Let's eat. I know you're hungry. Oh my god, that is such a meme face. Good grief. My stomach is painfully hollow right now, so I slowly walk back to the bench. I try not to be such a spoil sport, as I reach out to take my plastic wrap sandwich from TJ. He squirts some hand sanitizer from a little bottle I pause first before he lets me. We both share a bag of chips and eat quietly for a few minutes, just taking in the nature. Still even out here, I'm able to hear the train horns. Still feel bad about the silence, though, since I'm worried TJ will think that I'm mad at him. I mean, I'm annoyed, but he's just too damn innocent to actually be angry with. The sun's beating straight down on us at this point. It's uncomfortable feeling my semi-damn shirt rubbing up against my fur. Sitting inside my food for a moment, I strip off my shirt, the wetness giving me a bit of trouble. As I do this, TJ stiffens up next to me. I look over at him, and right away it's pretty clear he's trying not to look at me. I wonder if TJ's just one of those guys that's embarrassed about showing any kind of fur. Dude, obviously, I'm like, not okay with any sort of public stuff like that. I'm taking off my shirt in front of people. No, fuck that shit. That shit's disgusting. I hate that shit. That's awful shit. I have never gone into a fucking gym locker room ever, and I refuse. I fucking refuse. He only ever took off his shirt to swim, and even then, he always seemed embarrassed about it. Yeah, literally me. For like years, I didn't even take out my shirt to swim. So, that moment, both our paws slide into the shit bag at the same time, and TJ jumps, pulling his paw away. I look over at him, quirking an eyebrow. Sorry. For what? Never mind. I watch him take out his phone and look over his messages, which, when he turns the screen off, he pauses. I realize he's looking at his reflection, adjusting the fur in his face, pulling at both sides until he seems satisfied. Again, this is something to do when he was much younger, back when he's obsessed with his cheekbones being perfectly even. I don't say anything, though, and just keep eating, bouncing one of my knees up and down. It's damn awkward, and I can't figure out why. Usually it's really easy to talk to TJ, mostly because he had a lot of things to talk about. I try to think of something to say. Remember when I made fun of you for the way you used to say sorry? TJ gives me a bright, high-pitched laugh, and that makes me relaxed. Feeling like I just broke the ice on a first date. Yeah, it's one of the first things you said to me. I was trying so hard to fit in, you just put me on the spot in front of everyone. The scene plays out in my mind as TJ talks, the image of seven-year-old Lynx looking way too small for his puffy winter fur. He just backed into me while trying to catch a ball thrown by Leo and had turned around full of smiles. So we... Okay, wow. I pointed and laughed. Don't you mean sorry? That mortified look followed what would become TJ's trademark run back home, crying. I must have practiced that word 100 times when I got back home. There's a little ping in my heart at that image of kids Kid TJ saying sorry over and over again, trying to get it right. Well, I'm sorry for making fun of you for it. Why? It wasn't so long ago. Besides, you were just assimilating me into the culture. Sort of. Makes you feel better. Leo did get mad at me after you ran away. Just having trouble keeping his lettuce-wrapped turkey together. So, are you and him, doing alright? I think so. We had a good talk a few days ago. Yeah, that's good. He goes up and holding the wrapped all together, and instead just starts picking up the redness from the plastic. Oh, good grief. Excuse me. Were you lonely after you left? Try not to act surprised that he just asked me these questions. Yeah, really lonely. I had a terrible first semester. Yeah, what about now? Kind of. I guess I just haven't been able to find someone I connect with like I did Leo. Then again, the GSA at the university is practically dead, so who knows? Maybe after I graduate. Beaten silence for a while longer, and though it's less awkward, still trying to figure out what brought teacher to ask those questions. Crumple up the plastic and toss my backpack before getting up. Alright, now I've got to find a good view to get my shots. Shouldn't take too long. Oh, there's a great view of the canyon just up the trail there. He gestures in that direction with a half-eaten wrap. I wave to let him know I heard, and make my way up the trail. The town's namesake isn't much of a canyon. You probably wouldn't even realize it is one without being told. I saddle up close to the edge as I'm willing, taking a look over the side. What the fuck is this? Feet press pebbles over the side. They clatter down the edge of the cliff. It's dizzy and I dip my toes into the rock, feeling as if I'm going to tip over. Tears and rain mingle, finally letting go. Going limp, wind giving the final push. I back away. Impact instead of release. Pain. I feel the buzzing start in my head again, and I sigh as I bend over and reach my camera bag. I almost wish I could stay here until sunset, since the canyon would be a great backdrop for it. But I definitely don't want to hike back in the middle of the night. It doesn't take long, and about 5 minutes later I've got all the footage I need. Hiking all this way definitely isn't worth it, but of course it's not the reason why I did it. You finished? Didi walks up behind me as I'm bending over to put my camera away. Yup. He hands me a water bottle and I take it from him gratefully, pouring it over my head and chest, the fur flattening down over my body. TJ looks at my torso, his muzzle quirking at the corner a bit. You know, you kind of look like Jared Grease. I raise an eyebrow at him. The survivalist from the Wilderness Channel? What, just because I'm out in the wilderness and shirtless? Well, you were saying all otters look the same? No, I mean, just because you're an otter. Just because you're an otter, I mean, your bodies are... Again, TJ's got me questioning certain things about him. TJ, I'm kidding. Yeah, right, of course. He rubs his shoulder sheepishly as he slowly walks up to the edge next to me. Wow. He gets close to the cliff till he does it in a manner in which he spread out his legs and arms, bracing himself against the ground. He peers over the side, looking absolutely ridiculous. So high up. I smirk, sneaking up behind him. Shove him? What? Shove it? I need to see what this does. I need to see. Lingering for days. White bone pokes through the skin. Maggots feeding off the living. What? To do nothing. It's tempting as hell, but I'm worried scaring the cat will make him jump right off the cliff. Instead, I stand next to him and look out over the small canyon. We stand there for a while, not really ready to head back yet. That's when TJ lets out a sudden, loud yell that almost makes me jump out of my fur. Yeah! I put both paws over my ears. TJ, what the frick? He frowns. Where's the echo? Huh? It's called Echo Canyon. Isn't it supposed to echo? Oh, Hey! I yelled too, TJ lowering his ears a bit as we wait for a response. His ears perk. I think I heard it. Maybe we're just in the wrong area. But we're like right in front of it. TJ leans forward as if that will help and cups his paws around his muscle before yelling as loud as he can. Yeah! Okay, this time I do hear a return. It's muffled, scratchy, ugly, but it's an echo alright. TJ makes a face. Yeah, that sounded kinda creepy. Well, what did you expect? Everything's shit crappy here. Including echoes. What? Again, we're answered with a raspy, ugly response. My voice twisted and distorted. Seems a bit silly to name the entire town after that. I think it fits. I groan as I sit down and spread out my legs with a sigh. Why did they name it? Why would they name the... Okay. TJ does the same, except with his legs crossed. Good grief, man. Ah, boy. You really hate this place, don't you? He looks sideways at me. You don't? Of course not. All my best friends are from here. I mean, some of it is bad, but why let the bad taint the good? Make a non-committal grunting sound. I wish we all could have come up here. He really does look disappointed, and I feel bad about that. What, I'm not good enough? TJ giggles. I really am glad you came. It means a lot. You would have been pretty lonely otherwise. I look over and he's looking me right in the eye. His powder blue gaze is really pretty with the sunlight hitting it like that. He's smiling and I smile back. Suddenly his phone buzzes. He breaks eye contact to adjust his sitting position so he can get it out of his pocket. Probably Jenna checking it on. I turn to look back at him when he goes quiet. He's furrowing his brow with the phone as if trying to figure out what it says. Everything alright? Slowly his face relaxes, but his expression is dull. His eyes glazed over. TJ? Sterling sideways to look at what the message might be, but he quickly shoves it back into his pocket. Nothing. Just a long message from my mom. I can tell right away he's lying, which is fucking crazy because I don't think TJ's ever lied to me, at least not so easily. Is it bad? No, just something about when I come home from summer. Oh, okay. It's weird because I know he's lying, and he probably knows I know he's lying. But still, here we are, playing along. He stares quietly at the canyon for a few seconds, then stands up, brushing himself off. Alright, let's go. Cheerfulness in his voice is forced. It sounds like he's about to cry. Well, like I said, it's all down here from here. Literally. He turns away quickly and starts back down the trail, wiping his face. I head back, wanting to give him time to get over whatever it is that's bothering him. I wonder if it's something to do with the family, like a grandparent passing away or something. I'd feel too intrusive asking about it now, so I decided to put it off until tomorrow. The hike back is like TJ said, literally downhill, so it's way easier than coming up. TJ is still a little overbearing, making sure I have water and dumping a few unsolicited bottles over my head. Even then, he's still acting a little bit detached. I try to stay upbeat though, and since TJ's never been able to smoke for long, I get him warmed back up pretty quick. By the time we get back to the car, he's in a talkative mood again. So I'm thinking we get Jen and go to the diner for dinner. Sound good? Sure, I'll text her. I reach out to turn on the radio, then remember where we are. So, now that we've got hiking out of the way, what are we going to do for the rest of the trip? We've got like 3 days left. He rests his elbow against the door, tugging at the fur in his chin. Well, there are more trails than just that one. We could hike those too. I cringe inwardly at the thought of more hiking, but I don't say anything, and I'm pretty sure TJ knows I'm not into it. But you still need to do stuff for your project too, right? I can help you with any research you might need to do. Maybe. It's pretty boring stuff. It's pretty boring stuff? What? Are you kidding me? Researching history is boring to you? The fuck? Well, the work, yeah, but hanging out's the guy who make it fun. I grin in his eagerness. Well, alright, but I warn you, it's a pain in the ass. I mean, but... TJ smirks at me. You don't have to try so hard. Anyway, I just want to help. Good grief. No, I don't understand how researching history could be boring. Good grief. That is like such bullshit. I honestly, genuinely don't understand that. Turns out Jenna just walked from the hotel to the diner, not really wanting to wait for us. Me and TJ step inside, read about the smell of what you'd expect at any diner, burgers and fries. I'm flooded with old memories. It's a place that I had gone to eat every weekend for over 10 years of my life. I smiled and spot myself. While I complained a lot about Echo, this place held incredibly happy memories, most of which involved my 5 friends. We see Jenna right away as she steps out from a booth next to the door. Hey, boys. Hey. Sup? We make way over the booth. TJ's still sitting on the opposite bench while Jenna steps back to let me pass and sit next to her. She wrinkles her nose as I do. Phew, maybe you should have showered before you got here. Thanks, Jenna. TJ probably smells too. No, he smells fine. Of course he does. Thanks, Jenna, and don't blame Chase. Otters are, naturally musky. I decide not to say anything, instead of pull the menu out of the metal holder and flip through it. The table's greasy, so I try not to lean anything on it. Ew. So did you guys have fun? Yeah, made it all the way to the top. We did it faster than I thought we would, actually. Did you, yeah, you really freaked out. I knew it. Did you film it? No. What? That's the reason you pull pranks. Why didn't you film it? I forgot. I glare at the menu. Shouldn't let her corrupt you so easily, TJ. Try to think of some saint metaphor that I could use, but that's when the giant plastic spider lands with a smack at the top of the menu I'm looking at. I can't help myself and shove the menu and spider away from myself to fall over onto TJ's bench. I look up and Jenna's filming with her phone, grinning. Stop it! I half-heartedly grab at the phone, but Jenna easily pulls it away. Oh my word, is that Chase? I look up to see the middle-aged coyote making her way back to the back, making her way from the back kitchen around the counter. Hey, Janice. And Shannon Tobias, too. I smiled politely, only now realizing how loud our banter must be in the small diner. Now what in the world are y'all doing back here? Thought we wouldn't see you again after graduation. I've known Janice as long as I remember, her having always worked in this diner. In fact, she started here when she's about our age. Just like most in the town, though, once you're comfortable, you don't move much. Chase is filming the town for a school project. We decided to make a little reunion out of it. Now isn't that nice? I'll bet Leo's mighty happy. He's been talking non-stop about you 3 since y'all left. Yeah, he pretty much organized the whole thing. Janice suddenly makes a face. Phew, it's right over here. My face burns when I sit harder on my tail, staring at the menu. I think Duke's out here. Forgot to spray the scent neutralizer. You know how weasels are. I feel Jenna stiffen up now. She's maybe thank God she didn't say anything. Yeah, anyway, how have you been, Janice? Janice leans her up against TJ's blends, clasping her paws on him, leaning her elbow on the back of it. Oh, can't complain. You haven't missed much of it. You haven't missed anything, trust me. I actually have been meaning to do a little spring cleaning. I'm looking forward to it. My back doesn't bend like it always did. All the small town, small talk niceties and speciesism is starting to make me zone out when suddenly TJ pipes up. We'll help. Janice beams. Well, I could never ask that of you, especially while you're on vacation. TJ chuckles. Actually, me and Chase were talking about how we had nothing to do, and I think it's a good idea. I can see from Jenna's tight smile that she's feeling exactly the way I am. TJ and his goddamn need to be a good Samaritan. Oh, Tobias, you're an incredible young man, you know that? Just wanted to be of help, ma'am. When can we come over? Oh, I don't know. How does sometime tomorrow even sound when it's nice and cool? Sure. Well, thanks again, Toby. You're really one of a kind. TJ beams up at her, then at me, and frowns as he sees the look on my face. Now, what can I get you? After Janice takes her order, she buzzes off back to the back, leaving me and Jenna to glare at TJ. TJ at first pretending he doesn't notice and starts to adjust the salt and pepper shakers, trying to place them evenly between the menu holder. It was nice seeing her again. We don't say anything, finally the tension becoming too much, and he gives up on the salt and pepper shakers to look up at us. What? You know exactly what. We didn't come here to clean up Echo's mess. Speaking of which, Jenna reaches past me to grab a towelette and starts wiping our table, wrinkling her snout. Disgusting. There's no harm in helping someone, Chase. You told me you didn't know what else to do. She just starts doing a napkin with one of the coloring pencils in the pack they leave on the tables. Honestly, Teach, I'd rather hike another trail. Please don't. I'm marinating your otter musk right now. God damn it! Chase! We are gonna nudge Jenna to slide off the bench so we can get out. When she does, I stomp my way over to the single restroom. I sigh as I let the heavy door ease shut behind me, pressing on the push-button style lock. Quiet coolness is a welcome relief, even if it is a restroom. Oh god, a public restroom at that. I try not to use those if I can. I put my palms in my eyes and rub them in circular motions, trying to ease the headache that's been building up since the afternoon. I stand in front of the sink and run my paws under the faucet for a while before bringing some water up to my face. Oh, is this... It feels good, but the headache continues to pound. In fact, it feels like it's getting worse. I squint at the mirror, the light suddenly becoming too bright for my eyes. Is this a migraine? Oh, hello, it's the orchestra tuning. Okay. Great, the hum, everybody. Welcome back, mister. Did you miss us? Did we miss you? No, we didn't. I've never had one before. Have I? I continue staring at my face, feeling the pressure build. Pretty soon there's a strange sound in my ears like a tuning orchestra, and for my heart pick up. The hell is this, a stroke? Am I having a stroke? Oh, Jesus, okay. Well, that's interesting. At that moment, looking at myself in the mirror, my eyes just drop. They move in towards the center of my face. At the same time, the sides of my muzzle curve up unbelievably high, giving me a ghastly smile. One that goes up past the top of my head. That's not what I'm seeing, but okay. Fleetingly, I remember playing with my laptop's camera once, putting on some effects, and my face would distort in ridiculous ways. It looks almost exactly like that. Then the earth gives way, falls out from under me, and my paws slap the sink as I hold on to it to stop from falling sideways into the wall. The fuck? My voice squeaks as I try to find my footing. I shut my eyes to stop myself from throwing up, and slowly the roaring dies down, and I feel myself regain my balance. I crack my eyes open and I see my face is back to normal, the line at top level again. I crack my eyes, out my eyes the rest of the way, and stare at myself, my reflection starting wide-eyed back. I'm breathing hard, my chest heaving, pupils dilated. Looking down at my knuckles, I see the skin is white through the fur. I slowly let go of the sink and look at my shaking paws. What the hell? My muzzle is dry and I swallow a few times. I take a drink, but I don't trust the dirty faucet. After a few moments, I'm able to calm down, realizing that I'm probably not dying, and that my head feels pretty clear at the moment. I'm pretty sure it was a migraine. Migraines can do that to people, right? I draw in a shaky breath. Again before grabbing a few paper towels from the dispenser. I run them lightly under the water, adding a few pumps of foamy soap as well. Mom has migraines all the time. I'll call her about it tomorrow. Able to keep my paws steady now, I run the soaped-up towel under my arms a few times. After a quick look to make sure the door is locked, I undo my belt and push down my pants and boxers to around my thighs. If I really want to take care of the musks, I'm going to have to go down under. I run a few more paper towels under the faucet and soap dispenser. Just some sliding the towels against my tailbase hear a knock and the lever-style handle rattle. I jump and look back, not really worried since I know it's locked. Because this place is a fucking piece of shit, I'm just in time to see the button lock pop out. The handle swings down, the door opens enough for Lynx's head to poke through. There I am, pants down, a paper towel under my tail, looking like mooning wipe my ass while I moon my Christian best friend. I think we stay like that for at least 10 seconds before TJ blinks first. Oh my gosh, sorry! He squeaks it out so fast I barely hear it before he yanks his head out and the door closes with a snap. Fucking fuck! I snarl between my teeth as I scrub myself. Then throw away the towel. I feel like I'm gonna cry. It's like the entire universe is conspiring against me right now. I sigh and wash my hands, realizing that the longer I delay going out there, the stupider I'm gonna look. When I come back out, I see TJ stand immediately eyes straight as he walk past each other before he heads into the bathroom. Jenna stands up on my back and into the booth. Everything alright? Yep. As we sit back down, Jenna sips from her glass of water, then starts sucking an ice cube. So I know TJ had fun, but did you? I jump my fingers on the table, still feeling a bit numb from the embarrassment. Yeah, it was fine, about as miserable as I thought it would be, so no surprises. Honestly, I actually kind of wish I'd gone with you too. Oh yeah? Then I remembered that the AC is a thing, so I didn't feel that way anymore. At least you're built for that kind of weather. True, doesn't mean I have to like it. So what'd you do, sit around all day? I studied for a while, then Flynn and Leo came by, actually. Oh, really? Yeah, they wanted to have lunch with us. Leo was pretty disappointed when he found out you weren't there. They brought a bunch of presents for Carl and had me choose which I wanted to give him. How thoughtful. Jenna shrugs. Anyway, Flynn was pretty quiet. She doesn't say anything more, so I press her. Oh? Yeah, just kind of subdued, I guess. I guess he might be feeling sorry, I don't know. Well, here's hoping he comes around. Anyway, they're planning a surprise birthday party for Carl. Isn't that not for a few weeks? Yeah, we want to have it while we're all here. Then drags a drop of condensation around the outside of her glass for a moment. Just between you and me, don't tell TJ this because I told him I wouldn't tell you. But he said he was really glad to have you along. He says you're what he misses most about this town. Really? That kind of surprised me. We're really good friends, I have to say. To say was what he missed most. I look outside. Again, the sky is painted red, orange, what looks like purple. He drew this so I could see what happened when we prank you, to make up for not recording it. I look down at the table. As Jenna slides over the napkin TJ's been doodling on. A stick figure with a thick tail, I assume me, he's lying on the ground, his mouth bigger than his face as he screams. Next to him is a giant spider. Standing over them both is a stick figure with big tufted ears, I assume TJ, with his stick arms put up over his face, clearly feeling guilty. Cute. Isn't it though? With my sarcasm, I really do think it's cute. Especially the TJ figure. Shit. What? Forgot my purse. She stands up. I'll be right back. Why? I'll pay for you. Don't worry about it, the motel's like 5 minutes away. You can pay me back. But she's already out the door. I sigh, watching her make her way down the road through the window. That's when TJ slides back onto his bench. I quickly look down, feeling my cheeks burn all over again. Sorry about that, just wanted to wash up too. I don't know why, considering TJ looks at him no matter what he does. I force myself to look up. Funny drawing? He looks at the napkin and gives a little laugh. Oh, she showed that to you? Wait, where'd she go? Forgot her purse. Oh. He's sitting on unbearably awkward silence for a while before I finally sign my face against a paw. I stare hard out the window. Okay, so I wasn't wiping my ass. You know, otters have glands. Chase. Look over at TJ and he's smiling. I know, I should have opened the door. You were just taking a while and we were wondering if you were alright. I look up as I see Janice making her way over our food in a giant tray. I guess it's really the lock's fault. Oh, having problems with the restroom door? Make sure it's jammed shut real tight. Should lock in. Thanks. The plates are set down. I'm fairly surprised at the portion sizes. Not used to getting this much in the city. The Janice immediately bustles off to another customer. And you know... I look out for my giant sandwich and fry, grabbing the ketchup bottle. It was kinda cute. TJ immediately looks down, pretending to read the menu even though we've already ordered our food. I feel like my brows are almost going to shoot off my forehead as I stare at him. What does Applewood smoked even mean? Oh no, you're not getting off that easy. Did you just call my butt cute? No. TJ's ears fall flat, and I'm kind of satisfied he's the one feeling embarrassed right now. And it's just, like, honest cute tails, that's all. I snort. Yeah, I can see by the way you drew mine there. Sorry. Don't be. So yeah, I'm testing the waters here. It's been a while since I played this game with a guy. I knew the fuck thought the next one would be TJ, but here I am. Keep looking over to TJ, waiting for him to look up. Finally, he does look up at me for a moment and we lock eyes. I smirk and he smiles in return before looking back down. Well, that's something. Yeah, no shit. Good grief. I sit in a big rock next to the shore watching the tiny waves lap at the smaller rocks. Across the lake, maybe a half-mile away, I see my friends. All of them floating on something. My car. They're all in my car. Leo's driving. He's got sunglasses on. Even from this distance, I see him look across the lake at me. He waves and makes a finger gun, shoots it at me, making a clicking sound with his tongue. Flynn sits next to him, head back, sleeping. Carl's drawn in his face. Jenna sits in the back and reads, and TJ... Where's TJ? Oh, there he is. He's swimming after the car. Colors fall flat. I feel sticky and sick. Something isn't right. I'm at the canyon again. I'm looking over the edge. TJ's on the ground. He's staring at me, maggots in his eyes. Something moves in the bushes next to him. Paw? Is that a paw? It reaches out toward TJ. The lake. I'm staring at the lake, but the day is clear. The sky is blue and there are things in the water. 5, 6 things float in the water. Bodies. Bodies float in the water. I watch the bodies float, bobbing up and down, and one looks really familiar. This isn't right. This isn't me. What is this? Something across the lake. I see something across the lake. There's a tool shed across the lake, and I see the door open. There isn't a tool shed next to the lake. Something steps out. The hell? Okay, what? Well, guys, that's it for this video. That was odd. 12:13, really? It's 12:13, huh? Well, thanks for watching this video. See ya.